It's fine by me. Okay. Let me just confirm that everybody can hear me. Please, are we good so far?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So just basically, these are not my original thoughts, but just thought to share this with us. Financial planning is an ongoing process which will reduce your stress about money. And I think this is something that's very, very important. You need something that will reduce your stress about money. There's hardly anybody in Nigeria of today that doesn't have some stress, no matter how little, about money. Even if you call it Dangote, I'm sure will tell you he has his own kind of stress too. And then financial planning is important because it allows you to make the most of your assets and helps ensure you meet your future goals. And like they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's basically what the second one is. That look, if you have a financial plan, you are more likely your bills on time and save each month than those who do not have. So with this in mind, I think we can now dive in fully. The question is, what exactly is a financial plan and why do you need to have one? These items are actually self-explanatory. It's a comprehensive picture of your current finances. I mean, where are you currently? Where do you want to be tomorrow? Where do you want to be in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, in 1 year's time? And then how do you want to bridge that gap between where you are now and where you want to be later? So it's actually a comprehensive picture of your current finances, your long-term financial goals, and what strategies do you have in place to achieve those goals. Mr. Tunde Bello will be taking the session on budgeting. I'm sure we'll do justice to this a lot more in the afternoon. But it's also important to know why you need to have one. It helps you to establish and achieve your financial goals. I've seen instances where a school just has in mind, oh yeah, short term, coming into the first term, coming into the summer holidays, we're going to be doing some facelift. We're going to be painting. We need to buy some school furniture. We need to buy toys for our playground. We need to do a lot of things, equip the library, buy some new computer sets. The sick bay has to be touched up. Quite a lot of things that they have in mind. But when you now sit down, you really done a proper analysis of your finances. Number one, to assess what do you even have on ground right now. Number two, you have to spend all this money before school resumes first time next session, and you are now making money. How are you going to fund that gap? Without a proper financial plan, you struggle to even know how to fund that gap. So, and the financial goals that you have set, you struggle to achieve it. And then part of why it's also important is, of course, like we said, it serves as a guide and roadmap towards large financial goals. It's protection during a financial emergency. Imagine what happened in 2020 when we had the lockdown during COVID. I know the kind of stress that a lot of schools were under back then. When schools were suddenly has to resume, especially if even before schools were asked to resume, during the lockdown when everybody was home, schools struggled to pay salaries because money was not coming in. Meanwhile, they are staff, both academic and non-academic staff. It was a serious challenge. By the time schools had to resume, when the lockdown was lifted, a whole lot of things that imagine somebody that was just coming out of lockdown where they were struggling, and then you had parents too, many of whom had lost their jobs, couldn't pay, many of whom were trying to negotiate with the schools to even reduce this. A whole lot. So without a proper financial plan, how do you would even have what we call a nest egg that could help you weather the storm during a financial emergency? And of course, it also helps you to outline the scope of your business, identify potential funding problems, and plan around them. And which is also very important. You need to measure success. Am I really running this business successfully or not? I think it's important to know that for any business owner. So what are the key components of a financial plan for school? For me, the starting point is take a look at where you are right now as a school and draw up what I would choose to call a school improvement plan. This is where I am right now. It's like we call it a current state assessment. You do a current state assessment, and then you now look at based on this in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time, this is where I would like to be. But of course, that where you'd like to be is a dream. You need to now look at what are the most important things. Why do I prioritize each of these items? I mean, list the various things you want to do. You now prioritize so that you understand the most important thing. For instance, a school that is seriously in need of a playground and at the same time does not even have sufficient classrooms to take care of his students. Meanwhile, it has the ground to build more. I'm sure you maybe right now student the number of students in the class is averaging about 25 in the per class, or maybe 30 per class. And this is a school that maybe wants to do 18, 20 per class. And then you are struggling with that. Now, the two things they want to do very important. You want to have a playground because students need to move around, play, and all that. It's part of the curriculum as well. But at the same time, you need to also build more classes. Maybe because, I mean, this is a hypothetical case now, a school that has the financial resources to do either of this or both of this. But the question is, which one is more important than the other? I can't say that which one is more important right now, but it's now based on the school's circumstances and priorities to say, oh, is this one I need to state assessment and also prioritize? It will be difficult to know what and what to allocate your funds to. Then it also helps you to align your strategic goals with tactical steps that you need to take to achieve those goals, as well as giving you a roadmap for raising or maintaining standards. That's what the school improvement plan does for you. I won't dwell on budgeting. And like I said, somebody is going to, and I know Mr. Tindeville is going to do a very good job around this much later on. But just so we know what it is, it's just a document that helps to set out how your resources will be allocated to the different areas of need, and then it gives you a mechanism for monitoring your expenditure throughout the year. Um, that's basically what budgeting does for you. Then a set of tools, just some key set of tools I believe you need to be familiar with for planning your finances. You need to know, so if as a school owner or school administrator, you don't know how each of these items help you, how they relate to your business, then please, I would strongly advise, please invest the time to learn. There are tons of free resources on the internet that can help you. So you need to know what a profit and loss statement is. It's basically a document that helps you understand how and why your business is making or losing money. That's very, very key. A balance sheet also shows you what you own in terms of assets and liabilities. A cash flow statement will let you know money that is coming in and leaving your business. How money is, which sources are these monies coming from? Which sources are they leaving through? It's important. In fact, you cannot approach a bank for a facility, for instance, for a loan without them asking for your cash flow statement. So a bank is far more important than your profit and loss account, far more important than your balance sheet. It's the most important document that a bank will look at in deciding whether or not your business deserves to be given additional funding. Then, of course, financial projections, very similar to the budgeting that we talked about. It basically helps you to estimate the funds that you require in terms of inflows and outflows. Apologies, I'm moving a little bit faster now than when we started, but I'm also trying to be mindful of the time allotment for this session. So, I mentioned earlier that this would tie to one of the items like every other business. We also need to acknowledge the fact that schools also have some challenges that are very peculiar to them, not the same as what most other businesses have, at least in a number of instances. The cash flow cycle for many businesses is probably on a daily basis, weekly basis, or January, September for first term, January second term, then April basically for third term. That's when your inflow is coming in. But then you are incurring expenses not within that same time period. I mean, no, sorry, a better way to put this is your expenses are not exactly matched with when your inflows are coming in. Just like one of the examples we gave earlier, you have to make preparations now for first term ahead of time. Meanwhile, the money for that first term is not coming in until September. So you have daily expenses, you have weekly expenses, you have monthly expenses. Meanwhile, the money is not coming in at the same pace. You need to be able to understand that cash flow, how the money comes in, how it goes out, and be able to plan effectively. And that's what budgeting helps you do. That financial planning helps you do that. Okay, I already recognize the fact that there are times when I would have surpluses, I would have excesses. There are times when I'll be very lean in terms of funds that will be available. So how do I ensure that I can even things out all through the period? It's very important. And that's one of the key challenges that schools face. And then, of course, we know this fact that many school administrators are very experienced. They know how to manage a school, but they don't know how to manage a business. So it's important that you know how to manage a business if you want to manage your school successfully. This other one is the social development mindset. You know, do you have that artistic mindset? I want to change the world. I want to make things better. And in the course of doing this, you probably end up doing that at the loss to yourself, cutting your nose to spite your face. But the truth is, you need to have that business mindset to do this successfully. Then, of course, I'm sure we're all familiar with this last one. Schools are very prone to death. We know those stories of people who do 1, 2 terms, and before you know it, they move to another school, start afresh, move to another. I mean, that's only one of those extreme cases. But time. So, in all of this together, some basic tips that we talked about them one way or the other, but I just thought it's important to also highlight this. To just give prominence to each of these items that's important for you to have. And as you go through this session in the course of today, please, these are areas that you need to pay attention to. It's important to have a clear business plan. It's important to monitor your financial position on a regular basis. You need to know your day-to-day costs. I mean, if for someone running a school, 1 year, 3 years, you should by now know on average, this is what I expect to spend every day on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. At 10, which is broken into maybe 3 months on average per term. This is what I expect. Maybe I know some schools have some allowances for, and there are some schools that don't even allow parents to, you want to, you have not paid your child does not even resume. There are some schools that have that. There are some that are midway that's okay, you have to pay 70% before the child resumes, then you pay another one. But I mean, they have all this kind of arrangement. There are some that even are a bit more flexible than that. But whichever arrangement you have in place, you could also, it is part of the fact that your cash flow is irregular. You should be able to, after a while, know that maybe, okay, normally when we resume in January, I typically would have maybe 40% of the monies I expect for the entire time coming in. By February, maybe another 20% will come in, making 60%. By March, maybe another 25% will have 85%. So January 40, February 20, you already have that sense of, it won't be exact, it won't be perfect. But what it does is it just helps you deal with that irregularity in your cash flow, even it out, and match it with your expenses. So once you already know these are the kind of this is the kind of pattern in which my funding comes in, it's easy for you to also plan how to, at the same time, you need to know what your expenses are like. Yes, there will be some that will crop up that you probably didn't expect, which is what we call, you need to have what we call a contingency plan in place as well. But by the time you have all of this put it together, it's easier for you to not, again, like I said, it's not perfect, but it just makes it a bit easier for you to manage those resources more effectively. Then, of course, ensuring your customers pay on time. We kind of overemphasize that. Customers, of course, you know who they are, your students, parents, and all that. Then you need to keep up-to-date accounting record. I mean, this is also very critical. I encourage schools to be compliant with all necessary regulatory requirements, both from the Ministry of Education and even the government, other government agencies, tax authorities, and all that. It's very important. For instance, there are schools that deduct from their employees on a monthly basis. At least I know this of for Lagos State, and I want to believe this is very similar to a lot of other states too. You are supposed to remit that within the one you deduct in May now, you must remit to the tax authorities within the first 10 days of June, so within the first 10 days of the next month. But I've seen instances where people 4 or 5 months, they don't even remit. Yes, they may eventually end up remitting in bulk or they never end up remitting. Nothing may come of it for a while, but you never can tell when government will also come breathing down your neck, which is why it's important to always be compliant with what is necessary requirement. Then, of course, you need to become more efficient and control over it. I'm sure we know this more than anything else. Your costs keep spiraling out of control, and if you're not careful, there are a lot of different areas of leakage. Then getting the right funding, I think I want to speak with this a little bit. There are different sources of funds available to you as a school owner, as a business owner. You have equity investment that you have put in place yourself. You have friends and families that are giving you funds. You may also be taking loans from a financial institution. It's important to know, given the kind of business I'm running, what is the most appropriate kind of funds that I should also have in place, especially if these are funds that you have to pay back. How will paying back impact my business? Like if I have to take this chunk either at once or in bits over time, how does it impact my business? So it's important to know that. And if it is a loan, you need to be careful to understand the implication for your cash flow as well. Then we say you should tackle problems when they arise. So I think that one is clear enough. I've talked about this one way or another, but I just thought again, just like the previous slide, to highlight this a bit more. That it's important to do your current state assessment, so your current financial situation, you develop financial goals, you then look at the alternative courses of action, evaluate those alternatives, and then create and implement a financial action plan. And then your financial plan is actually a living plan. You reevaluate and revise the plan so that it is more in tune with your current circumstances at any point in time. So it's not like it's not like something you do today and then you leave it. Another 1 year is still there. This is our plan. No, you keep looking at it maybe on a quarterly basis or at least twice in a year, at least twice in a year. You keep looking at it. So apologies again that we had to do this quite fast, but I'll be happy to take questions now at this point. I didn't see any hands up while I was talking, but I'll be happy to take questions now. So the floor is open.
I think there is a comment from Art Canon Schools, Ibadan. If you don't mind, you can read that and just respond to
that now.
Hello,
okay,
can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, please. I'll come back to the question in the chat. Please go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't get the last slide before you slide to the question and answer slide. I was just trying to go through it. I couldn't get much of the information there. Like this, yes.
I'm back there now, so you can take another look at it.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. So the thing from our Canon Schools, I don't think it's a question, it's actually a comment, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. That compromising quality is more expensive than the actual cost to him to cut. Absolutely. I mean, cutting cost does not mean you are cutting quality. I think I'm sure we all have that understanding. The fact that you are cutting cost doesn't mean you now trim up the quality, and at the end of the day, it becomes a case of being penny wise, pound foolish here. But again, we need to, I mean, it's a balancing act, really. It's just a balancing act. You need to achieve that fine balance between, yes, I want to offer quality, but at the same time, I want to offer it at the best, at the least cost possible. Yeah. All right.
Is there any question? You could leave it on the chat box. I want to use this opportunity to say that we should please do mute our mics. Like Annie Chukwemeka, please can you mute your mic? Desi Tayo.
Okay.
Can you
So,
hear me? Please, we should please
yeah.
mute our mics so we can hear our speakers very well, please. Thank you very much. If you have questions, please.
Yeah. So while waiting for questions or any such thing, just going to be sharing my closing thoughts again. Some of these I've said them in one form or another, but it's important to put them together. So yes, please, I'll call on schools. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. Sincerely, you you win my heart in everything. I really appreciate you. So I want to make this request, sir, this humble request. I would like to have your contacts shared, either email or mobile number. Someone like me, I want to establish a very strong relationship with you and things that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, I'll pass that across through Growth Master. Yes, I'll do that immediately. Once we're done, I'll do that immediately, so they can share it.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thanks. So, we say you shouldn't mix your personal finances with your business finances. This is always a no. Please don't be that person that you are buying ashwebi and shoes and bags and rice and beans through your school finances. Always separate your personal finances from your business finances. And one easy way to do it is to have, even if it is not a limited liability company you are running, there's something that we call owner's drawing. You can have an account which shows, okay, the owner is taking out so amount of money, or you pay yourself. In fact, my favorite is actually where the owner of the business actually pays themselves a salary. So you are just like another employee in that business, and then you are earning a salary, and so whatever your teachers or your other staff are going through, you're also feeling it, and that helps put a lot of discipline into the system. But again, I know it's not easy for everybody to do this, but I've seen that in practice, and I see that it helps. Then one mistake that many businesses, this is not limited to schools, many businesses make is money comes in, students pay fees and all different income. Before anything even hits the bank, they've spent half of it. Only half of it goes to the bank. This goes into, ties to your banking, your financial records. So by the time your business is being assessed for, okay, what is even the cash flow, what's the strength of your cash flow? We cannot ascertain it simply because half of your income is invisible. But if 100% of your income enters the bank, then you now have a proper system where anything you need to spend on expenses, you pull those funds out. For instance, let me give a quick example. You might have, I know there are instances where you need to have some cash on hand. For a very small school, you might decide that, okay, whatever goes to the bank, on a regular basis, we'll make sure that we have about 50,000 naira on hand, so that all those small expenses, want to quickly buy something, we can maintain it. And then there's a register for that, where it is recorded, and somebody is in charge of that. If you are not big enough to have a proper what's it called now, bursary, a proper financial accounting department, you can just have somebody who's responsible for that, who maintains that register, and the records we have 50,000 now that we are holding. On Monday, we have to spend 2,005 to buy broom, to buy soap, to buy this. On Tuesday, we have to do this. At the end of the week, they balance their books, and then the school probably has a system in place that says, once this goes below 10,000 naira, make another request to augment the money. So another request is the money is drawn from the bank, put it, given to that person who is managing it, and then on and on like that. It makes it very easy for your records to be tidy. So it's important to please note this. Then, of course, record all transactions, get professional help. Yes, it's good. You can learn a lot by yourself online, but then you also need professional help. And then take courses to enable you better understand your finances. As I said earlier, there are a lot of free courses online. I have a personal principle. Before I pay for anything online, I first look for the free version. It's only when I don't get free version and I really need that knowledge, that's when I go for paid versions. But I can assure you, there are a lot of free versions online. And then this last one, please, let's note it. When we are putting together a business plan or a financial plan, a mistake many business owners make is they just contract it to a consultant. No, that cannot help you. Because what the consultant will put together is their own idea, even though they get some information from you and all that. But what they ultimately give you is their thinking, is their own idea. And it's important you are part of the process. You understand and own every detail and you're able to discuss it comfortably. You only get that professional, that consultant. Sorry, somebody needs to mute. You only get that professional to guide you and support you. But don't make that mistake of, I've paid somebody 100,000, 1 million naira, whatever it is you are paying for the person to put together your financial plan, your business. No, that would be a huge mistake. Involves you as the owner. If you have a board, if you have a team in place running that school, then please, that team should be involved in doing this. Okay, thanks. I think I have a couple of hands up.
Yes, before the hand, someone dropped on the comment section and she said from Rose Elachi, she said, good morning and thanks for the training. In the absence of funds from friends and family, what type of partnership arrangements can school go into for funding a school business?
Well, when you say what types of, so there are different options, really, depending on what is readily available to you. Yes, you've already talked about friends and families. There are also some investors, at least I remember, was it like 2 years ago, Mrs. Zainab Mabini was also part of this conversation back then, that we had some people that were looking for opportunities to invest in a school. So, I mean, this happens all the time. You could have organizations that are looking for where to invest their funds, but it's important you need to position yourself as an attractive investment prospect. That's very important. Whether it's friends and family, whether it's to take you as a person out of, so don't get me wrong when I say take you out now, they're able to look at that school that if, say, for instance, you as the school owner, you were to travel for, say, the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, for a whole time you are not around, will this school run? And that speaks to structure. That speaks to corporate governance. Will this school still be standing? Will it run as effectively as it is running today? Does this school have the kind of records that would give me comfort that yes, and it's not just about records, because I keep saying records, I quite a whole lot of things, the management system in place, and many other things, even culture is also important. Does this school have the kind of systems in place that will give me that comfort to put my money in there? So that will inform whichever partnership arrangements you are looking at, whether it's friends, family, most likely they will not ask you all these questions, but I've also seen cases where friends and family do have this kind of and what makes you attractive to people that want to invest in you, just like a beautiful bride. What makes you attractive to potential suitors? So you need to fix all those kind of areas. Yeah. Okay, so there was a hand, I believe
yes,
Mr. Gani.
Mr. Gani.
Does this still help?
Thank you, President. You understand your finances better. I would like to ask if you suggest tools for getting these free courses, perhaps outside YouTube. Do you have some preferences you would like to give us? That would be one. Two, On the other hand, when we're talking about seeking finances for school, I look at it this way. The members of staff, do you see them as potential partners of the school? You know, for instance, I'm a staff in your school. Is it, can we have it at a particular stage where I
Sorry,
can
I
be a
really can't hear you very well. There's quite a bit of noise. I don't know if it's from your background or somewhere else.
No,
I
no,
heard the
it's
first
from
question.
here.
Okay.
Can you
Please
hear
go
me
ahead.
now, sorry?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can we consider members of staff as potential investors in our school? Perhaps at a particular stage, after working for a particular time, can we bring members of staff to be partners with the school? Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. So this first one is easier for me to answer. This second one is quite tough, but I'll still take a stab at it. Now, the first one, that other than YouTube, which other resources would I recommend? I mean, YouTube is usually my first go-to source for anything I want to learn. Usually YouTube, but you also have quite a lot. You have Coursera, and I know Coursera offers some. At least I've taken some free courses on Coursera. They have this. I've forgotten what they call it now. Financial aid. Yeah, they give you some financial aid that you can get some free courses on Coursera. There's Allison, which has a lot of all these courses. Udemy. I'm not okay. I think there are some free courses on Udemy too, and even very cheap courses on Udemy. So those are just some that readily come to mind. I don't know if there's any specific ones now that are targeted to school finances. What I've just talked about are areas where you can learn about financial planning for any kind of business. So in case there are any that are specifically geared towards schools, I don't have that information. I'll be happy if anybody has and could just drop it for us here. I hope that helps you, Mr. Gani.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thanks.
Mr. Akintunde.
Yeah.
We do have, time constraints.
Time, yes, I'm aware. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Can I just spend 30 seconds speaking to the second question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for that second bit, whether you can have members of staff, well, I would say yes, but you need to do it with serious caution. You don't bring a member of staff or anybody to be part of your business, to be an investor in your business, if they don't have any value to offer you other than money. So it's not just the money they are bringing to the table. You need to see the value the person is bringing to your business. Otherwise, you could be running into problems. And I'll give a quick example. I had just last year, a friend of mine was looking for investors, and there was this guy that he has had the funds. The guy runs. He's actually into agriculture and other farm. This guy had the funds. He's a business person and was ready to offer him as much as 25 million in his business. And then the first question he asked him was, okay, so if I put this money in now, in once you want to be a partner of the business. And in agriculture, and this is farming, this is not just like processing, farming where you know the gestation period, how long it takes. This might sound like an extreme example, but it's important to know that the person is not just bringing in money for the sake of bringing in money, but what other value can they add to your business? If that member of staff ticks the box and don't see the person as a nuisance, because there are people that bring money into your business and become nuisance, and then they hook you in the neck, then I don't see why you can't consider that. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Akintunde, for this wonderful presentation. I'm very sure we had some questions. There was a question that had to do with tax. Please do answer it in the comment section. We want to move to the next agenda. And also, if do have your questions coming in. If you have questions, I will just tag him so he can attend to your questions in the comment section. So we are moving to the next agenda. We're a little bit late. It has to do with the first presentation on school fee collection. And this is going to be by BoardPay and Wema Bank. The floor is open. So
okay,
we're having a presentation now.
All right, thank you, Josephine. Just a quick one before we have that. Can you hear me, please, everyone?
Yes, yes, we can.
Okay, so this session on school fee collection, we are having Edu FinTech present. Though it's in support with Wema Bank and BoardPay, but we don't have on this call. On this call, we don't have the Wema. We're not able to bring in the Wema Bank and BoardPay representative due to the short notice. If you all pay attention, you realize that we started sharing details about this event just 3 weeks ago. We started all the planning and the running of this project started just in 3 weeks. Please, Mr. Kolapo, as you're joining me, you are unmuting your mic. I kept muting you. Please ensure you are muted. Ensure you are muted. If you are here, mute your audio. If you're here, mute your audio. The setting of this call is that it's mute everyone upon entry. But if I keep saying that a name keeps popping up and it's not muted, I would rather remove. I'm muting you, you are unmuting back. Okay, so I'll welcome the EduPay Point team. That is our sponsors. Okay, so we have them here and they'll talk to us about school fee collections, the strategies, how well and fast can we collect our fees. We know that the very most important fund you need in your business is the fund that it generates, the cash flow, right? And how they have been able to help school owners on this aspect. So I'll hand over to you, Edu Point. Mr. Lawrence, Mr. Martins, hi. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Good
beautiful.
afternoon, everyone. Oh, it's morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for having us here. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you, Josephine, and Mr. Akin today as well. Thank you very, very much. My name is Lawrence, and I'm from EduPay Point. So I'll be talking quickly about fee collections, not using any slide. I'll just talk you through it in relation to EduPay Point in terms of fee collection and how that helps in terms of schools to be able to collect their fees more effectively and efficiently as well. Like I said, I'm just going to be talking quickly about this and within the time allocated. So what I'm going to do is to talk about the feature, the fee collection feature of EduPay Point. Then I will try to leave some time for questions within the allocated time as well. So again, like it's before, you can type your questions. You can start your questions. You can type your questions in the chat panel, or you can wait until the end of my quick talk about this, and then you can ask your questions as well. So for educators and other stakeholders that are present here, you would agree with me that student fees are the main source of income for private schools, and effective school fee collection significantly helps sustain schools. And some of this tied into what the last speaker said in terms of fees and how that is sort of the bloodline of the schools as well. So if we're not able to effectively collect fees, and monitor the fees that we are collecting as well. That can put us in deep waters. The fees can be quite a challenge for a lot of schools, and that is one of the things that we found during our research in terms of working with educators, working with financial experts as well, in order for us to put together EduPay Point. And to boost revenue for schools, it's important, therefore, that they have to minimize liabilities and also to streamline fee payments. And over the time, technology it's been playing quite a role when it comes to fee collection as well. So it's not only in terms of the fee collection, it not only helps to enhance school management software, not only helps to enhance academic processes, but it also helps to enable schools for them to be able to manage account, fee structures, billing as well, invoicing, and helping to reduce the manual work and also save time as well. And in terms of the fee collection features of EduPay Point, it's not just for the schools, it's also for parents as well. So for every school have to undergo a tedious process for them to be able to fulfill their fee payment obligation. And if you consider that a lot of parents have quite busy schedules already, and manual processes are time consuming and also quite inconveniencing for a lot of parents, and you consider some parents might be in other parts of the world as well, and having to jump through hurdles in order to be able to fulfill this obligation can be quite challenging for them. And if you look at the schools as well, on the other side, they also face pressure to efficiently track, to communicate as well with, and also provide information regarding fees and other necessary information to parents as well. So having an effective fee management system is then required in order to be able to simplify data collection, fee invoicing, fee payments, and also communicating this to parents as well. Hence, the reason we have EduPay Point revenue collection feature. Now, EduPay Point itself is a robust school management system. In fact, when we started EduPay Point, we started as a fee collection only platform as software. Then we did more recurring theme was about the need to incorporate our fee collection invoicing part of EduPay Point with and put it into a total school management system. Therefore, we went to the drawing board, sat down with the engineers and all our stakeholders, and eventually came back. And now we have a complete and robust school management software. However, for this particular session, I will only be talking about the EduPay Point fee collection feature, and we get into the other features later during the session as well. So on EduPay Point, we have created different features, and of course we have the revenue collection features. And as part of that, school can easily communicate invoices to parents. They can do remotely, they can do that digitally without having to send a paper invoice to schools, to parents rather, which can get lost by the children, which can remain in the bag for days without the parent noticing it as well. So this helps in order to cut that out and be able to directly reach out to the parents and the guardians who are going to eventually be the one making the payment for the invoice. And as part of that, what we have also done is to consider different parts of this feature. For example, we have the multiple transaction splits, where from our research, we found that schools sometimes receive revenue into different accounts. And so with EduPay Points revenue collection feature, the schools can set up different of their account. They can have their UBA, the Zenith Bank, their Wema Bank, their First Bank account to receive different revenues. So EduPay Point features for this allow schools to be able to do that and collect this revenue into different accounts. It also helps with tracking payments as well into the school's account. It provides the schools with analytics. It provides instant invoice notification as well. So depending on, because on our revenue collection feature, you can choose different platform for you to process your invoice collection. And so if you're paying through the wallet, and I'll talk about the wallet functionality next. So if parents are paying through the wallet, the money goes into the school's account instantly. However, if they're paying through the likes of USSD, then there are ×2, ×1 in terms of the days that it takes to process that with our other partners. So, but if parents are paying through the wallet, within a few seconds, it will reflect in the bank, in this bounds. And of course, there's a mirror where the school can see the invoice as it being paid. So there is a receipt for that. The parent can see that as well. So that takes out disagreement about when it was paid or if it was paid or not. Now, talking about the wallet functionality, the wallet functionality allows parents to be able to make payments and to make savings for raining days. So one of the recurring theme as well through our collaborations with other states, especially schools, is about how some parents that we talked to in Port Harcourt, and one of the key issues for them was that sometimes when parents have contract, because most parents are contractors, so when they have contract, they have enough money to pay. But there are times as well during the academic year where they might not have contract, and so they struggle to pay. Therefore, the wallet functionality helps parents in order to be able to save and make payment when it's due, so they can pay. So the days that they have 50,000 naira, they can put it in there. The days that they have 100,000 naira or 10,000 naira, it is then in their wallet. Now, the wallet facility helps them, like I said, to save little by little. And the funds that are in the wallet, they are processed by one of our partners called BoardPay. And BoardPay is headquartered in Lagos. That's Board Infrastructure Limited. And they have various strategic local and international partnerships. And they are the processor. They process the money and the funds into the wallet and the payment as well. Now, the funds themselves are warehoused at Wema Premium Trust Bank. These are well-known commercial banks, and reassures and parents that your money is safe as well. But BoardPay will be the processor of this payment, and of course, they have their partnership with this commercial bank. In terms of, I mentioned 2 banks, either Wema Bank or Premium Trust Bank, and that's because BoardPay, through its automation, will generate either Wema Bank or Premium Bank, and that's the process for parents for them to be able to fund their wallet. And it's important as well to note that although the funds that they have in wallet are domiciled or housed by these 2 commercial banks, that doesn't mean that the parents can walk into any of these commercial banks and ask for them to be to draw out the money in their wallet. They cannot do that. That money is to pay the school fees and the school fees only. yes, if there are in the future, if there are issues and the parents want to take this money out, there are processes of them coming back, this going to the school confirming that the either say, let's say the child is no longer with the school or they're moving to another school and the money is already it doesn't use EduPay point, for example, and the money is already in the wallet, the school will have to confirm to us that indeed they are no longer with the school, and then the other processes will be followed, and then the money will be refunded to that parent through the same source that it used to fund the wallet. And there are several benefits to schools when it comes to using EduPay point fee collection feature, where it helped to significantly lower the time and effort, and also where it requires when collecting and chasing payment from schools and parents as well. It helps to raise payment invoice, of course, so that you can send that instantly. Parents will be able to see that as well. And in addition to that, our fee collection feature also helps to record and track the invoices, the payment, when it was paid, and all the necessary information. It also helps for the schools with their revenue collection process and optimizes their processes in order to serve them better. Not only that, it is equipped with fast transaction speed as well. So you get your, unless for occasionally when you have network issues, as it happens with everyone who use mobile data in Nigeria, unless those days where it slows, but instantly you have this money into your account. And by paying through these digital processes as well, I mean, the risks of theft, because the payment itself goes through directly to the designated bank account as nominated by the school. Revenue and accounting reconciliation, EduPay point fee collection feature also helps with that, gives the school a level of flexibility to determine specific installment payment as well, because the way we have designed it, the school can decide that they want to give installment payments where the funds can be paid, the fees can be paid over a period of time. They can also do discounts as well. So that's all part of the feature. If you decide you could have a parent with a few children in your school, and so you're determined to give them a discount for that purpose, you can do that as well. So it is quite beneficial to schools as well, because it's also online, it's accessible from anywhere. The directors, the other stakeholders, directors, or the proprietors of the schools can also have access to that from anywhere in the world. So they can see, because through the analyticals, they can see how much came in and what the revenue that they're generating, and also the expenditures as well can be monitored from these features as well. The parents as well, they don't no longer have to go and raise an invoice, go back to school to prove that they are paid. They receive the invoice either on their phone, on their digital devices. They make the payment. The school can, it goes straight into the school's account. The school knows that they've paid. They have the receipt on their side as well. So no argument in that sense. And they can do it from anywhere in the world. They don't have to go into a bank in order for them to be able to do that. And they can manage multiple children's information from one functions as well. It appears I'm going a bit over the time now, so I'm just going to stop here for now and take any questions if you do have any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence Moses. If you have any questions, please do raise up your hand, or you can leave it in the chat box. I will definitely read it. Okay, there's a question from Mr. Ojo Abatola Ezekiel.
Okay.
He said, how do you charge?
Okay, thank you. With EduPay Point, we have 3 levels of subscriptions. And so we have the gold, the silver, and the platinum. We have the bronze as well. So the highest in that is £1,500 naira. Sorry, pounds is in the head. So 1,500 naira per student per term. Now, I've only talked about one feature. There's so many other features that we are still going to talk about in the afternoon session. So we have the 1,500 naira per student per term, we have the 1,000 naira per student per term, and we have the 750 naira per student per term, and that will be determined by the needs of the schools in terms of the features that you would have access to. Can it be integrated into your school management system? Now, EduPayPoint itself is a complete school management software. So it is already there. So it in itself is a school management system. And if you would allow, if you're with us a bit later, when we talk about the other features, you might consider EduPayPoint as a more suitable school management software for your school, where we already have the fee collection part of it, we have HR management part of it, teachers, students, parents, library, hostel. So we have all of these features in it already. And so if you're still with us later, out of it, we have the annual leave management as well. We have the transportation. So it's quite a robust software that helps to manage the total function of your school.
Right, salam.
Hello,
Sorry,
Mrs. Onishabi, you are not muted. Let me mute you right away. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Josephine, are you there to take this off?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
There is a particular question for Mr. Lawrence asked by Mr. Sam Ablaziz. Please check the chat section. Yes.
Okay.
I can't seem to see that. Apologies, I'm just scrolling through and
yeah, he asked a question.
Right. Somebody asked. Okay, I'm not. Oh, right. I appears I have to go. Okay, just give me a second, and I'll try to. Okay. All right. I have had several people come to my school management system to ask school. My objection is that they always want to charge per student per term. I prefer once a lifetime charge or yearly charge. Yes. Now, there's not much difference into this in terms of we can charge you as a collective. We can work together on that. Of course, we can charge you as a collective. Now, the reason why you would find that most systems we charge per student is because we have to process the data of every student. So we're not processing, yes, we're processing the data for the school as a collective, but again, you're looking at the data and information of each student as well. So, but of course, we can definitely, quite responsive to our clients, we can definitely look into working with you and charging as a collective rather than charging per student. But of course, like you said, that will be for the school academic year. So we can do that. And so your access, depending on your subscription level, will then be for the school academic year. And of course, we can definitely do that. We will be putting out details before the end of the session. And we try to get your details as well. And then we can definitely take it from there.
Is there any other question?
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, there is another question from, I think the name is Hadiza, asking if your software, if your system can be integrated to their already existing school management software.
Yeah. Yes,
okay, I thought I answered that because that was when I talked about how Hadiza, sorry, did that clarify, or did that answer your question? I think we should hear from her as well before we can, or them before
Yeah,
we
you
can.
did. You answered my question perfectly. And I just put a little note there to ask if payroll is also, can you run payroll on your school management system?
Indeed, you can. Yes,
Okay.
yes, indeed.
All right. You mentioned
So we
an
have all
afternoon
the
session.
HR part
I
of it.
haven't got
Sorry.
I haven't got the
Yes.
link for that. I probably maybe connect with a lady called Zainab for that.
Well, it's the same link, I presume. Zainab,
Okay.
am I
Perfect.
correct?
Okay. That works. Thank you.
It's the same link. There's just a little short break at some point. It's just the same link. Yeah. And so at that particular, well, during that time, I will be able to take you through more of the features. But in terms of the payroll that you asked for, yes, indeed. So we have the complete HR suite as part of the features where you can manage all your employees from there. You can determine your payroll structures. You can have information about your payroll and all of that as part of it.
Okay. Please, if you
Thank you
do
very
have any questions, please do leave them in the chat box. Like I said, I would always, make sure the speaker attends to it. Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence Moses. And then we would head over to the second and kind of final schedule for this morning's session. And it's called the Interactive Workshop. And they're going to be talking about school budget preparation. And this is going to be done by Mr. Tunde Bella. Like I said, I'm going to be reading the profile of every guest speaker that we have today. And so Mr. Tunde Bello, no, is it Mr. Tunde? Mr. Tunde Bello, I guess. I think that's a mistake on my part. Mr. Tunde Bello, right, Zainab? Okay, so I'm so sorry about that. Mr. Tunde Bello. So Mr. Tunde Bello is a financial tax and business management consultant, over 24 years of experience in accounting, tax, investigation, audit, and business management. He's a CEO and lead consultant at Alexander Stephen IQ, a firm of accountants, tax, and financial advisors. He's also the founder of the Alternative School, a business school in Port Harcourt and in Ogun State. He's I think also a CEO to the Teenpreneur Academy, a learning ecosystem for financial literacy, leadership, entrepreneurship, and tech for teenagers. Executive partner at FA and Co. That's for chartered accountants. Mr. Tunde sits on the board of 5 private firms as an advisor and a director, and also serves as a financial due diligence provider and facilitator at Founders Institutes, South Angel Network, business schools and tertiary institution, a public affairs commentator and advocate for #Fix Self First for Results. Mr. Tunde is married to Bello, a fashion and food entrepreneur and mother of 4. He's a lover of sports, clean environment, education, of course, empowerment and encouragement of the girl child, and promoter of alternative learning and personal development. Can we all make welcome Mr. Tunde Bello as he talks about, for the last session for today, school budget and preparation. Mr. Tunde Bello, you have the floor. Thank you. Mr. Tunde Bello. Okay.
Hello. He's
We
here.
can't hear.
His screen is up. His screen is up, but I don't know. Please unmute, Mr. Okay, he's here. He's here. Don't worry. Your microphone is on, Mr. Tunde Bello. You're welcome, sir. Good morning to you.
Mr. Tunde Bello, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
All right, while waiting for Mr. Tunde Bello to come up, are you there? While waiting for him to come up, this session on school budget preparation, I'll advise you have your notepads, your pen, and if it's your laptop, have it ready because it's going to be practical. And you know, each school budget differs, so he's going to discuss with you the best method, you know, the best approach that you can use to prepare your budget. Okay, and you know, 2024-2025 session is around the corner, and you definitely need the budget to work with. So you don't just go into the session thinking you have money, and just by the way, you'll have run out of funds. But with proper budget, you'll be able to run through the session successfully, okay? And your budget will also show you whether you need to seek extra funds outside or what you have within is enough to run you through successfully for this section. Okay. Mr. Tundabelo, is there anything the issue? Can we hear from you, please? We cannot hear you. I can see that you type, can you hear me? We cannot hear you, sir. We cannot hear you. We see your screen, but we don't hear your voice. We see your screen, but we don't hear your voice. Can you log out and coming back? Maybe it's a network issue. Okay. Maybe you log out and join us back. Okay, yeah. So I hope his network is stable once it comes back. Okay, so while you're here, please, the link you used to join this session, please share with school leaders in your network. Okay, share it, share it, share it. I can see that we have some heads of NAPS, that's the National Association of Proprietors and Proprietresses, Private Proprietors. I can see that you are here. Please share this link with your member schools. Please share this conference link with your member schools. And also I'll use this time to appreciate all of you who have joined us. There are people here who are regular customers. Yeah. For every webinar where there is Growth Master, you'll find them. Okay, so thank you, Al-Qalam Schools Ibadan. I see the name Marikewi of Fatima. I see Ayoshola Ogunjo. I see Bayo John. I see Bukola. I see Christiana Bello. I see CMCTI. I don't know what it means. I see Destayo. I see Donald. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the other name, so I don't mispronounce. All right, you're welcome. I see Mrs. Onishabi, you are back. please, some of you are still at your school children party. Yeah, your school children's day party. Please, as you're joining in, mute. Mute. I can hear some voices. Okay. So, pardon, Mr. Odukoya. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for your support. Please, please, please share this link, the Zoom link. Please share with all NAPS Ikorodu members and NAPS Lagos. Oh, sorry. I muted Mr. Tunde Bello again. Please unmute. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see Eniton Fashola Green Sprout School. I see Fasilat Jimo Muhammad Taufik. Yeah, Mr. Tunde Bello, can you try it now? Try to speak to us now. Let's see if we can hear you. Yeah. Also, I recognize the presence of Association of Christian Schools International Abuja. I see there is Banki private school here. The Bankis, that's the president for AXE Abuja. Please share the invite link with your member schools. All the association heads here. Please don't keep this session to yourself alone. Ensure all your member schools are in, right? I see some names are the names of their smartphones. So I see iPhone, I see some names, okay? So yeah, I welcome all the directors of our Tezo schools. I can see quite a number of them here on this call this morning. I see Mrs. Olono, yes, I've seen you. Thank you for joining me. Mr. Said Bashir, you're here. All the team from Impact House, you're also welcome. I see, the SAMs, you're here. I see Middleland School, I see Mrs. Omolara Middleland School. I see Oluwada Milola Tosin Akode. Okay, quite a number of you here. Okay, the Bankies, I see Olushola Bankies. Please, the Bankies, share this link with all AXE members, right? Please do that. We're waiting to have everyone. I see Risco. I don't know if this is the same Risco I'm thinking about. Okay. I see Ruth Yusuf. I see Taiwo Idris. I think that is from Ibadan. I see Umu Sophia. I see Olumide. So you're all welcome. Either I read your name or not, just know that being here, we appreciate you. And we hope that your children's day activities, like Lami Kato, in fact, this mama woke me, our message was one of the messages I received very early this morning. So thank you for joining in. I hope your directors are also here, Mrs. Lamikato, your other directors, yeah, everyone can join in. Everyone can join in. We have Edu Point behind us, so we are not scared, right? We are not scared. So yeah, so I'm admitting Mr. Tunde Bello back on another device. I hope yeah, the Abuja people, they are here. I see Abrazak Shitsu, that's Brain and Mind School Abuja. Yeah, thank you all for joining. I want to see if we can hear Mr. Tunde Bello now. Just a moment, and I hope he's on. Okay. So, can anyone share?
Hello.
Hello, who? Okay, beautiful. You're welcome, sir.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I have to can you hear me now?
Yes, very clear, very loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening, but if I'm not able to share my screen, just bear with me because I have to use another device. I don't know. Can you see anything?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. But please, I sincerely apologize. This is basically not my doing. Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
All right. So thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation with us. Please bear with me. I'm now using my phone to do this presentation. So I learned, I've wasted 18 minutes, so I don't know what time I have to do this. And from the conversation that has been going on, I've said I will try to keep the time. So I want to try and keep the time. And then I also noticed that it is called an interactive session. So I don't know if this works. So I'm just going to switch to the interactive session, but then I don't know how we're going to manage the conversation so that we don't have noises and all of that, or some background issues. So there's nobody who doesn't know the meaning of budget. And since it's an interactive session, please, you can type in the chat if you say you don't know anything about budget. So everybody knows that budget basically is about planning, a financial planning that has to do with the particular. I believe everybody prepares budget, everybody does budgets, everybody. So whether that budget is now a workable or a working document is another thing entirely. A budget shows you how you can spend your money every month, every week, every day, every quarter, every half year, and yearly. So some persons go ahead to prepare 2 years and all of that. But once it's becoming more than a year, it's probably becoming a financial plan or projections, because basically budget is quite different from all of that. I listened to the first speaker and I must tell you that a lot have been said, concerning that. Why do we have to do budget for our school? Of course, we know that it shows even our revenue patterns, which I'm going to talk about much more later. Okay, I could teach for some minutes and then, okay, fine. So it shows our revenue patterns and our expenditure patterns. It also helps us to prepare for emergencies and all that. Budget helps us to ensure that we have cash available and also to know what we can do to get cash. It helps us to save money. So simply because it is an interactive session, I am going to ask and then have people answer. We have about 60 people here. If I have about 15 people, that's about 25% answer this correctly, then we can go on. So I'm going to ask us, why do we need money? Why do we need money for our school? Can somebody tell us why we need money? Just type in the chat box. Why do we need money? It's different from why do we do budgets? Why do we need money? And I want each person to just type minimum of 2 reasons why we need money for schools. I know, I just want to see the first 15. If I see the first 15 in the next 10 seconds or 20 seconds, just type, why do we keep money to run our business? We need money to take care of expenses and pay salaries. Okay, that's 2 people. To pay staff, to grow business. Money is the life wire of business. Money is the wheel with which business school operates. We need money for school sustainability. Money is needed to acquire assets. Interesting. To pay salary, to carry school activity. What's school activity? To sustain the business. Okay, that is for business that is already starting. Interesting. To pay rent. Okay, money is required for growth. Okay, interesting. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for that responses, for those responses, majorly to keep the school running, to start and sustain the business. Okay, so we all know that there are three major reasons why we keep money or we need money: for operations, for contingencies, and for investment opportunities. Basically, those are the three reasons why we need money. So any of those things that all of those things that we mentioned must be categorized into those three areas, basically, transactional, precautionary, and then of course, to do investment. Now, there are three major types of budgets, which I want to talk about. So I'm going to ask when we finish so that you will be able to tell me and remind me if you learned anything, but particularly the first one, operating budget. Operating budget, of course, is like our day-to-day activity, what has to do with our overheads, sometimes to that majorly how we get money, how we spend money, what we get money from, where we get money from, and what we spend money. Then we have cash flow budget. The cash flow budget, I'm going to explain much more. It has to do with everything that has to do with money and what can generate money. So that is what we mean by cash flow. The cash flow talks about three major areas of our schools, and I'll go into it in the next one or two slides. Why cash budget deals with budget that has to do with cash alone, anything that has to do with cash, what you use cash for, what you get cash from. That is basically what it is. Now, how do we prepare budget? Because we said it's a workshop and interactive session. When we're preparing budget, let me ask us. I am going to just say yes or no in the chat box. How many of us have seen money, or you've gotten money, you got an alert, or you got inflows, and then you started spending that money, and then when money remains a little, you start doing plan with that money? How many of us, if it has happened to you before, just say yes. If it has not happened to you, just say no. You got a bulk of money, for example, maybe in September, between September 1 and September 20. You just got money, then you started spending the money, then you now realize that, oh, you did not even plan this money. There's yes. That's a sincere sinner. God bless you for saying the truth. I'm saying yes. So let yes, no. Okay, let yes go on. No. Okay. Samuel Luakemi Stella said no. Fatima said yes. Okay. Okay, what about personally? Personally, you just got money and maybe somebody just paid you, you did something, and then you just start spending the money. Then maybe you got 1 million. Then when the money is about 400,000, you just remember that, let's plan this money. Then you now carry your biro. You started, this is my organ that is wearing tie too. That's good. It means that a lot of us are there. So what you're doing is not budget. What you do after you receive money, or after you got money, or after you got some inflows, and after you spend from it, is not budget. That's damage control. So there are inherent issues in preparing budget, and there are key issues in preparing budget. One of them, first and foremost, is the issue of strategic financial decisions. Anybody that is preparing budget for the school or for any organization at all, for any business, must understand what we call strategic financial decisions. And what do we mean by strategic financial decision? First and foremost, we must understand the word strategic. And strategic means that something that has fundamental importance in your business. That is the meaning of strategic. So when you say a strategy must be strategic, it means that it deals with the core of your business. Now, what is the core of our business as school owners? Most of us don't understand some things, but most of us do, maybe because of our experience. We do budget based on the fact that, okay, how many students do we have? And then we say, okay, we have 30 students in the school, maybe 5 in primary, maybe 4 in secondary, maybe 3 in crèche and all that. Then we say, okay, how much is the school fees? The school fees is 30,000. So we multiply that amount by the number of students that we have. And the truth is, that is just basically one aspect of budget, because what you are doing is you're doing a financial projections, and your financial projections are infused into your budget preparation. And without strategic financial decisions, you can't prepare a very correct budget. I listened to the first presentations, and key issues that I want us to remember is the issue of patterns, the issue of patterns. So because the school is a seasonal business, you have, what do they call it now? Terms, yeah. You have first terms, you have second term, you have third terms. So when do you expect money to come? So you can't prepare budget without strategically looking into patterns and frequency of occurrence, as well as environment, as well as your parents. I mean, when I say parents now, I mean the student parents. So strategic financial decision making involves carefully analyzing various options, both long-term and short-term, and particularly long-term. So as they influence our decisions, as they influence our preparation of budget. For example, somebody in one of the schools that I manage, a parent, a particular family, they have about 4 children in that school, 4. So, and these 4 children, when they want to pay, when this family wants to pay, they pay everything by September. They pay all of the money of those 4 children by September. That's the first term. They pay all the sessions fee. So maybe if the session is 300,000, they pay 1.2 million, and then the school gets that money. And the truth is, the moment you get that kind of money, you have obligations. You have debt obligation. What do I mean by debt obligation? The debt obligation is that you have received in advance what you're supposed to receive in sequence. You've received a bulk money, what you're supposed to receive for the next 9 months or thereabout, or for the next 1 year. So you are currently financially obliged to those people who pay that money. You may be seeing that money as money that comes in for you, but because that money is not supposed to come like that based on your time and your seasonal operation, you may be wrong to have used that money to finance something that you need now, not taking into consideration what you will need in those periods when normally that money is supposed to come. For example, the books you're supposed to buy by that period, if you are the type that don't buy your books in bulk, or if you're the type that don't share your book in bulk, or if you are the type that don't have your plan intact. So the money that comes in may be giving you the impression that you have money on ground, but meanwhile, the money that you have is not the money that is supposed to be. Then there are 2 decisions on that strategic financial decision. So when you're making your budget, when you're preparing your budget, you must take note of this investing decision. And the investing decision refers to selecting and acquiring, identifying what you need. Let me just put it in clear terms. Investing decision refers to identifying what you need. So the inherent and salient issues in budget preparation, first and foremost, is how do you know what you need and when do you need them? This is basically what the investing decisions are talking about. And here you're talking about those quantitative and non-quantitative needs, quantitative and non-quantitative needs, qualitative needs as well. You need staff, you need books, you need to pay salaries, you need to do this, you need to do that. What are going to be the implication of this on your finances and your budget? It is not enough to just say that you're going to prepare budget based on the number of staff you have and the number of students or pupils that is in your system. No, it is very, very wrong. And that is why we said that in budget preparation, strategic financial decision must be taken, and you must understand them. The first one is the investment decision, and then the second one is the financing decision. Then we now go to the real issues. Based on what the first presenter said, and I want to just emphasize on this, the hidden facts and matters in preparing budgets are not usually taking note of because we don't see them. For example, the patterns, the frequency, and the parent profile. Let me take the parent profile, for example. Let me ask a question, since it is an interactive session. How many of us know the lifespan, the customer lifespan of our parents? How many of us have done it? You've done a profiling of your parents, for example. How many of us know where the parents of our school children work? How many of us know where they work? How many of us know their position? How many of us know? How many persons know if one is a civil servant, is a private individual, he works with government, is a contractor? How many of us have done that profiling? Say yes or no. I want to see. How many of us have done the profiling of our parents? Those are our customers. You've done the profiling. You ever done the profiling? Okay, fantastic. Okay, you've done the profiling. You've done the profiling. Okay. So I'm saying yes, interesting. So I'm going to ask one of those people saying yes to tell us what they find out. So let me take Omolara Middlelands School. Can you tell us what you find out using 2 examples of your parent profile? Tell us. I want us to share how that impacts on your budgeting. And I'm going to take it from there. Yes, Omolara Middles, what's it again? Yes, please. You can. Okay, Taiwo Idris is raising up. Okay, Omolara, please. Madam Omolara, can you go ahead first and I'll come back to Taiwo Idris. Yes, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. What we did, we did it in the
You lost her. Are you still there? Madam Middlelands. Okay. Growth Master, please, can you help us check if there's anything you can do? If not, let us have Taiwo Idris. So when she comes back, we'll listen to her.
Okay, let's have Mr. Taiwo Idris now. I'll check on middles. Oh, okay, it's middles land. Sorry, to them missed out.
Mr. Taiwo or Taiwo Idris, I don't know if it's the Mr. or Miss or Miss. So please, you have the floor. Taiwo Idris. Okay. It's funny. Okay. Okay. Is anyone willing to share your parent profiling with us, how it helps you in your budget? Okay, now let me give an example. Let me give an example. So I have a client. I have a client who pays me like about $350,000. What we did was to check, what does this person do? What do they do? So we do the KYC, knowing your customer, and then we look at what they do. How do they get their own money too? So we realized that they are contractor with a state government. So we looked at it and said, okay, so they are contractor with a state government. So what is the extent to which we can serve these people? How long do we think we can get money from these people? So we look at it and we said 4 years, because we also look at the state. We look at the governor. What's their relationship with the governor, with the state and all that? We realize that the state is unstable. The governorship issue on the state is unstable. So we knew that the highest we can get from this, if all things being equal, is 4 years. So most times when you're doing your budget, hello?
We will be listening to the way
Am I still?
And that is
okay. All right, thank you very much. So what we did was to check the life cycle, the lifespan of that customer. So for you, as you're preparing budget, you may have a parent that comes and pay the school fees for 1 year for all their children, and you're happy, and then you're doing your budget and you're basing your calculation on that. But you need to check how long will they be able to do this? Will there be any time they won't be able to do this? I am not saying you should, I don't know, I don't want to say more than this, but what I'm saying is that in preparation of your budget, the patterns, the frequency of occurrence of money, the monthly inflows, the monthly expenditures. When it comes, there are some parents that will come and tell you that, of course, it's also based on your credit policy or your payment policy or your school fees policy, that when you're resuming, you have to pay a certain amount, maybe 70%, maybe 50%, or you pay 20% now, then you pay 30% later and all that. This also affects your budget preparation, and that is very, very key. Some parents may just be enjoying a moment now, and then the business may not go on well in the next few months or in the next few times or in the next. So how do you go about pursuing or taking care of this as it affects your business? There are some parents, when you have parent forum, when they demand for things, no, you should put ICT, you should put school management software, you should put payment management software, and then you put that, and then you incur costs, and then you pay subscription. But you see this school, there's an issue about withdrawal. Then parents withdraw. Are you able to manage what you have already obliged to pay? Because these are the demands. So you need to check the parent profile. Because when some people are making noise, when some people are making demands, they may be making demand based on their current situation, or maybe based on what they expect, or based on what they are expecting. So mostly when we're preparing budgets, some of these things are not taken care of. And as a matter of factly, we need to start inculcating the habit of profiling our student, profiling our parents, profiling the pattern of the arrival of our money or school fees, our credit policy before we do budget. Then the next thing we must take note of is, I heard Mr. Latude saying that if you go to the bank wants to see your financial projections. And what we mean, sincerely speaking, is in your budgeting, the key areas that your budget inflows and your budget outflows must come from will be based on these three key areas. The number one is your operating activity. Now, why is it important that we check with our operating activity? For example, as a school, the key operating activity is educational service, which brings us to school fees. Now, if you look at the issue of uniform, if you look at the issue of sporting activities, extracurricular activities, maybe lesson or extramurals, or what do? They go to excursions, they go to all of these things. If you look at the pattern, those school fees constitute the highest of your revenue inflows. Does school uniform constitute the highest of your revenue inflow? So in your operating activity, if the total revenue you're making in a year is 100 million and your operating activity is constituting just 50%, there is every chance that that school will not last long. There is every chance that that school will not last long. And this is not to say that you will have to increase school fees and all of that, because you have competition. You must also check with that and profile your competitors as well. How do they charge? How do they do school fees and all of that? So if you're here this afternoon, you can write down what is the percentage of your school fees collection to the total of the revenue you made in a year. Let's say you're making 100 million in a year, and all the school fees, the key school fees, that is your school fees, excluding books, excluding uniform, excluding extracurricular activities. What is the total compared in terms of comparative analysis? What is the total compared to other activities? Most people have money from the founders or from the directors or from the school owners more than what comes as school fees. And they are still surviving. Yes, everybody can see them. There's aesthetics. There is beautiful school uniform. There is beautiful school bus. There is beautiful, nice speaking, nice looking teachers and all of that. But what is the percentage of your operating activity to other activities that generate money? Then let's look at the expenses that comes from that operating activities. The major expenses that come from your major operating activities in terms of expenditure will be your teacher salaries, your key HR costs. So from the school fees, if you compare what you spend from the school fees compared to what you get from the school fees, is it positive? Is it positive? So you get 100 million from school fees alone, and then your teacher salary is 80 million. That tells a lot about what is left for you to take care of your other activities in the school. For example, your repairs and maintenance, your toiletries, your registration, your subscription, your alliances, your all of those things. If the staff salary is 80% of your school fees, then you know that your budget preparation should be able to show you that your budget is not just to lump activities and events together. It is to tell you critically the health of your business, is to tell you critically the diagnosis result of your school health. That is your school healthy? You may have money, but the money you are having, do you have enough to finance your obligations apart from your teacher's salary? Because your teacher's salary will probably be the heaviest part of your operation. Then the next thing is to identify your financing activities. Somebody was asking if teachers can be part of the school funding system. Why not if not? But what do they get? So if I'm a teacher in your school and you're preparing budget, you prepared what is going to be the salary, and then you have one or two teachers saying that they want to be part of the business, they want to be partners, they want to be investors, what are you going to offer them? Is it your internal rate of return you're going to use, or you're going to use the market rate or the current interest rate? So if somebody brings 1,000 naira, what's that person expecting from your school? The person will expect a minimum of 24.75%, which is probably the minimum interest rate that you can get anywhere. So you're saying that for every 100 naira that you get, 24 naira 75 kobo goes to somebody who brings that 100 naira. So is your school able to meet that obligations? If you are the one bringing the money, what is the thing that you get from that money? Most school directors put their money into the school. What do you get? If you were to get that money, what is, if you're going to get it in the bank, if you're to get it in from family and friends, if you're to get it in microfinance bank, if you're to get it in all of this loan app, how much will you pay back? So you must look at what comes in from your financing activity. What about the money you give out? Do you give out? Do you have enough to give out? Then you have to prepare budget to cover that. Then the last one is your investing activities. Generally speaking, investing activities covers the money you get from the extra money you put somewhere to generate additional money. Is your school doing budget enough to look at what you can't hear anything again? Please confirm if you can hear me, please.
We can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
I hear you.
Mr. Henry says we can't hear anything again. And,
we can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, my name is Tunde Bello. I'm just trying to have a chit chat with all of us as regards budget preparation. And one of the things I said was that when we're preparing budget, we must understand the inherent activities and inherent issues that goes with preparing budget. For example, I mentioned that there are 3 areas you must take care of and take note of when you are preparing budget. And those areas include, number 1, the operating activity of your business, which is basically the core of your business. How much money do you generate from the core of your activities, which is school fees? Then how much money do you spend from that operating activity? If you compare them, if it is negative, you know that you have to find a way to cushion or augment that deficit. The second one is your financing activity. Your financing activity goes to show you about your external funding. How do you get money from, apart from your key area? How do you get money to finance your activity? Then the last one I said is the investing activity. The investing activity results show about the money you get from the extra savings you've made that you put into investment. And investment doesn't have to be anything big. Investment can be just that you bought a bus, and people are hiring that bus for their activities, for their events, for their excursions, not just school activity. Or maybe you have a hall in your school, and what does that hall brings to you? What does it bring to you when you are not in session? Most schools, when they are not in session, every activity is closed. What do you use your halls for? What do you use your classroom for? Can people come and hire for meetings? Can people come and hire for sessions, retreats, and all of that? Those are investing activity. Did you put money in bonds, in stocks, in shares? How much do you get from it? Do you put money in money market funds? Do you put money in another person's business, in other schools' business? Do you put money there? Do you invest in something that can bring in additional money? Once these things are not part of your budget preparation, your budget is faulty. This morning or this afternoon, we're talking about budget preparation. So then the next thing is to look at controllable and uncontrollable costs. Most times, let me ask us, what constitutes uncontrollable costs in your business? What is it that no matter what, no matter how you try, you can't control the cost? No matter how you are prudent, can you mention them? Let me hear them. Let me even see them. Since it's an interactive session, what are they in your school? For school owners, what are those uncontrollable costs? There's nothing. This cost is not within your power. There's nothing you can do about them. What are they? The first one is what? Maybe
salary.
We are not hearing. You can't control salary. How is that? How can you not control salary? You can. I think you can control salaries. I think you can control salaries. Diesel, you can't control diesel. Taxes.
Electricity.
Electricity, you can't control it. Really? Okay, let's begin to look at it. Vehicle breakdown, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Diesel, utility. What's utility? There's no expense called utility actually, but I understand what you mean, Madam Josephine. I understand what you mean, like all of those electricity bill and all. Okay, estimated. Estimated. Okay, yeah, I understand that. I understand that. Okay. All right. So, for example, anything that you do not have a say, anything you do not have a say, for example, government policies, NAPS registration, you can't control it. Those are obligations that must come and you must settle them, you must finance them. We must understand those things. I think we can, exactly, rent of premises, you can't control it because it's not within your hands, you know, fantastic. Yearly renewal fees, exactly. Those are what I mean. Amak bills, Abuja people. Okay, so basically statutory dues, fantastic, because those are things that come that you must pay. We must take note of these things that we can't control, and when they come, they are like contingencies, they are like permanent feature, you know, that comes to us. Now, let me give us, okay, I hope we are good. Let me give us another issues that we must take note of as we do our business. Those things that we can control, we have a way to identify them. We have a way to check them. Now, a school is not financially stable when you every day or regularly postpone or transfer your obligations. So when you're preparing your budget, you must look at obligations that you can't transfer, you can't shift. For example, salaries. Most people will have to pay salary in the second month, in the middle of the second month, and all of those things. The moment you are transferring or you are shifting obligations when they are due, it means that your budget is wrong, and it also means that there's something wrong with your financial health. There's something wrong with your school's financial health. Once your salary is going into the following month, the second week, the third week, the fourth week, apart from maybe August, which some of you do to make sure that your teachers stay and you control your teachers. When it is normal time during the session, during the year, once you start shifting your obligation, it means you have liquidity problem. And your budget is supposed to help you to solve your liquidity problem. I'm going to stop and then we ask questions. Now, when preparing budget, you must look into what if analysis. For example, those things that I mentioned that you don't control, that is what's supposed to help you to snowball, to total your contingency budget. People just put contingency, they just put an amount. That is not how to prepare budget. Your budget is to show your receipts and income and when they will come. School fees will come normally heavily first week in maybe first in September, then it comes sparingly in October, then it comes almost depending on your policy in November. Then you come in January again, school fees come heavily in January. Then you have to look at what if this customer, this parent loses their job? What if these parents that are working in the civil service, they are close to retirement? How many of them are close to retirement? When they are close to retirement, does it affect your inflows? When they retire, does it affect your inflows? Somebody is into private business. Somebody is doing his own business. How many of your parents, how many of your children parents are into their private business? How many of them may be affected by government policy? This is the what-if analysis that you must do before preparing your budget and when you are preparing your budget. If you don't have this information, and that is why every time Nigeria is always having issues with budget, because we prepare budget based on what has happened, not based on what if, based on continuity assessment, a business continuity assessment. If a school comes into your environment, if another school is established in your environment, how much of your percentage of student retention will you have? That is what if analysis. If there is flood, how much of the percentage of the current retention you have is going to be lost? That is what if analysis. The economy, how much of the people that is going to be affected by the current situation are your parents? So these are issues that we must take note of. These are issues we must take note of. For example, what is your cash requirement? Do you always need cash? Somebody was mentioning how to not to put your own cash into the business. It's a very, very difficult situation because you cannot watch your business die. When you have money, you say the policy is that you can't put your personal money in your business. Of course, you have to find a way. Before you, there's what we call pecking order theory. And the pecking order theory is that where do you get money from? First and foremost, from within before you go outside. So when you present your financials to the bank wants to know how much of this money do you really have? Then before we bring in our own money, how much do you generate yourself? Let's look at HR analytics. If you employ one person today, if you employ one teacher today, and that teacher, maybe your basic minimum entry, for example, maybe in my school, basic minimum entry is 75,000 naira for BSc or NCE holder. Now, for one person that you employ, you want to check whether that person can stay with you for 12 months. So you do 75,000 times 12. When you do 75,000 times 12, it means 900,000. So one staff is going to go up 900,000 and you put that in your budget and you leave it at that. You're very, very, very wrong. What of the NSITF? What of the statutory implications of employing that person? What of pension? You have to contribute 10% of that 900,000. So if you are putting only salaries as your HR cost in your budget is already wrong. So you have to do what we call HR analytics. And what is HR analytics? For every one staff that I employ, what is it going to cost me? What if this person, your policy says that every staff can apply for loan after they spent 6 months. And this staff you have employed, you employ new staff, and about 10 of them now bring application for loan. Do you have that as part of your budget? Did you make arrangement for that budget? Because you can't be doing budget that is not fully taking note of issues like this. Environmental impacts. For example, your head teacher, your principal, your head of session, they just see that they need car loan just so as to help them to augment their transportation and all that. Do you make budget for that? Do you make budget for that? People have parents, the parental issues. It's not enough to have money kept for salary. What about everything that comes with HR? What about everything that comes with the environment, signages? What is the law saying? Regulatory issues. Now you have to put your school on the portal. You have to be seen. You have to be that. What about competition? Competition analysis. The school that is beside you or the school that is far away from you, the school that is doing boarding system, the school that is doing day system, what does it have as part of impact? Do you make arrangement for that? What about your digital cost, your digital marketing cost to beat competition, credit policy, all of these things, discount and rebate? Maybe a parent have 4 children, and then you're making budget for 4 children's school fees. You have to put your discount and rebate policy into consideration. So let me stop here first. If anybody asks a question, then I'll continue to close, because by the time I know that this is 12:25 or thereabout, so I want to use that question to complete what I have to share. Any question or any disagreement in all of the things that I've shared so far, you can put it in the chat, or you just raise up your hands and then we attend to it from there. Okay. I'll leave that to the
Mr. Harun, you can unmute your mic and ask your questions. Please, if you do have any questions, you can leave them on chat box.
Thank you, Mr. Tunde. Can I ask my question now?
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. I want you to probably shed us a light on, you were talking of profiling the parents.
Yes.
Since Samolara was unable to, because of network, can you give us an idea? Is it that we're going to have a Google form they're going to fill, or a biodata form? How do we go about that one, profiling our parents? Even though we know some of them, but we may not know all of them. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. And it's in between the devil and the deep blue sea, you know. The issue is that we now have Data Protection Act that talks about keeping data of your client as a data control officer and all of that. For school owners, let me also say this: you might need to go and read the Data Protection Act. It's very, very important. One of the things I teach very well is the issue of data protection, because you are custodian of data, and that data may not just be financial data; it may also be personal data, and which has to do with where your parents work, where your customers, what they do, and all of that. It's important that we also know. We can do a survey, do a questionnaire, look at, just share it during your parent forum. It's a way of collecting data, because some people may not be comfortable disclosing all of their details to you. For example, some people just come, you see them dressed gorgeously, and then they tell you they want to put all of their children in your school, and you are happy, but they don't have the funds. They may pay the first term, and then the second term becomes an issue for them. And you've already employed teachers to make sure that you meet their needs. They are even asking you, who is your, I remember in my school, by the way, I prepare people to become chartered accountant, tax consultant, and all of that. I have an accredited school. So when people come around, they'll be asking you many questions. Who teaches this? Who teaches that? Who is he? And all that. They profile the teachers, they profile the lecturers. The same thing for us. What we can do, because it also tells us to limit our expectations so that our budget can be very, very fair and concise. Most times, we have parents who, after second term, they don't come back. We have parents who want to japa. We have parents, you should just find a way to do the profiling. Do a survey. Age bracket, just put it there, between 45 and 50, between 55 and 60. Do you work in civil service? Do you work in private environment? Do you own your own business? What is your income bracket? You have to gather all of that. That will give you the data picture, the analytical picture of the kind of customers that you have. Because some customers will not last more than 2 years. Some customers will not last more than 3 years. Some customers, you need to also see, how do they come? How did you get them? How did you acquire them? Did you acquire them through friends, through referrals, or they walk in? So these things will help you. If you acquire them through friends, for example, if one parent bring 30 parents to your school, that person has control over your school. That parent is a stakeholders with influence and interest in your school. They may not be shareholders, they may not be financiers, but they have control. Let me tell you the meaning of that. What that means is that the moment this person is not okay with you, the whole of the 30 parents that the person brings, he or she can take them back from you. And then what that means is that it breaks your revenue pattern. It depletes your revenue pattern. You also need to know whether this particular parent is the highest paying parent in your school. You need to find out if this parent has 10 children in your school. I don't know how many person will have 10 children these days, but I mean, it can be. And then the person is paying 300,000 times 10 per term, per year, and all of that. That person has control over your school. If your revenue is coming from a particular group or a particular sect or a particular resident, say you're in Lagos, maybe you are in Ireland, and all of your 50% of your parents or 50% of your students are from the mainland and you're on the island, then you have to be very, very careful, because anything that happens to them in the mainland can strategically and badly affect your business. So that should be part of your budget preparation. It's not taught in Harvard or in all of these things. But what I'm saying is that because we have the opportunity to look at all of these things, parent profiling is a key salient inherent issues in budget preparation. And if you don't do it so well, for example, I have a client that is a contractor to a governor of a state that they don't do 2 terms. They don't do 2 terms in that state. History has shown that they don't do 2 terms. So what does that mean for me? It means that this contract will only last for 4 years if there is no court case, if there is no INEC, what do they call it? So those are the things. I may not be able to give you all of the details, but those are the things. Some parents they are itinerant workers. What do I mean? They don't stay in a place more than 180 days. They don't stay in a place more than 6 months. Once they stay in a particular location, they just move. Once they come like this, they look for another school, and you are happy that you have them. But you need to know their history. Where are they coming from? How long have they stayed in that particular place before they move in here? Do they own their own building, or they are living in a rented apartment? Those are the key things you must do. I'm sorry, I'm bringing some of the issues that are not financially related to your analytical issues as regard budget, but these are qualitative issues that become quantitative issues in your budget preparation. I hope I've been able to answer that a bit.
Mr. Harun?
Any other? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Well understood.
Thank you very much. Somebody has just given us the Data Protection Act 2023. You know that as a school owner, you are the data control officer of your school. Is important. So it's there. Any other question, any other disagreement? This boy just the talk since waiting in the talk self is not true. So let's have that conversation, please.
Please,
I'm sorry,
we have
I have
any
to
questions?
catch up with time.
Do we have any other questions? You can leave them in the chat box too.
Okay. So, okay, some people are asking how to contact me. You want to give me money? It's okay. So you can contact me on social media. You can contact me on social media. Otunde Bello. You just go to Otunde Bello. Otunde Bello is my LinkedIn number. Anywhere you see Otunde Bello, that's me. I'm not as handsome as this, but I believe I can do. Yes, Otunde Bello. Yes, and my number is there. For what basically I do is to help school owners do monthly cash flow, monthly account preparation. Instead of you having an accountant seated on your board or on your management, we provide outsourced accounting services basically to ensure that you don't incur unnecessary costs. We help you file your tax returns, do your HR analytics, and it's important that school owners should look into this. Even you have to do the profiling of your lecturers or your teachers. How long do you think this person will last? Then you make a provision for it. Pension, NSITF, payee, loans. That becomes the HR cost of that single person. So if you have 20 staff, you need to do a profiling. When they are submitting their applications, you need to check how many of them really want to stay in Nigeria. Some of the people we have currently are not teachers, but teaching staff. What do I mean? They don't love teaching. They are just doing it till they get the next job. So for some of us, the higher percentage of the people we call teachers are just teaching staff. People who just while they are looking for a job, let me just go and teach. They speak good English. They are smart, but they are not teachers. They just want to keep body and soul together. And then when they get the real job, so they may not even give you 1 month in lieu of salary, all of those things, because the money you're paying them is not even as big as the money they are going to take where they are going. They just leave you and then you're done. So your budget should be able to also give you an idea of how many staff do you think will last long? How many staff do you think will will give you a short period of service. It's important that we take note into that. Unfortunately, you might be looking at it that actually they say it's budget we want to do, but I'm telling you the key functionalities and the key inherent areas that you must take note of when you're doing your budget, because budget is not just about how much do we expect, how much do we spend. Mr. Tunde mentioned that thing, patterns. If what you're spending is higher than what you're receiving in a month, you will soon run into problems. So you need to look at your cash flow management, the patterns of receipts. When do these parents pay? This particular parent, how many of them will pay their school fees once ahead? How many of them will pay their school fees 3 times in a term? How many of them will even owe and carry it to the next time? How many of them are being affected and impacted by the current economic situation and all of that? All right, so do I have any other question? Yes, Al Kalam School, no problem. Please, you have my number. I'm not, we just want to have knowledge impacted. So does anybody have anything to share before I conclude, please? Okay, making provision for bad debt. Yes, bad debt is basically any debt that you know that you will not collect again. And that is why I said your contingency should not just be a percentage. You must do the analytics. That's what I mentioned, what if. And when I say what if scenarios, is basically to see that if these people don't pay, what do I do? If they don't pay, what do I do? If they leave at second term, what do I do? You will still pay salary. You will still pay your teachers, no matter the number of students in your class. You still have to pay. And you can't keep changing your salary due to all of this because teachers will leave. Because most of them, 98% of teachers are doing this for money. They are not doing it for the love of teaching. So, and we have to accept, even you too, you're doing it for money. Because if it doesn't pay, passion will be just not important anymore. Thank you very much. I don't know if I've been able to, I know I was very, very fast. Usually I'm not this fast, but I needed to, please, thank you very much. AlexanderStevenIQ.com. That's basically what you can reach me through. Thank you very much. Any question, then we'll close it from here. Okay. I hope I've not been able to confuse you. I hope I've been able to do a little justice to how the workshop is how to prepare, and then it's an interactive session. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunde Bello. We have had so far a very engaging topic, and I'm very sure you people are learning a lot. So we're going to close for a while. I don't know if Zainab has something to say before I tell us when we're to come back.
All right, so thank you.
So I just put the slide there so you can have the slide, even though it's not fully explanatory, but you have something to have. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I also sent you a private message, Mr. Tunde.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
so
okay.
I would like to have templates that school owners who attend this conference can use for their budgeting after this session.
Not a problem. I can send even an Excel sheet that you can share with anybody that wants it. No problem.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so thank you. And
thank you
I really
much.
Appreciate. Now, yeah, there are new people who are joining the call, and I keep having questions in my inbox. Do we have access to the recording? We missed the first session, we missed the test. Don't worry, we have you covered. And for the school owners who are on the field for Children's Day, you know, I see your questions. Don't worry, we'll send you link to access link to the recordings of this session. You all are going to have it, right? So yeah, thank you. We're wrapping up this morning session shortly, and we'll be back by 2 p.m. You know, once it is 2 p.m., just know that we're going to be back. You know, this very first session we've had Mr. Akitunde Owosheni as our keynote speaker, where he talked about financial planning and how that is very crucial to making our schools profitable and sustainable. And Mr. Tunde Bello, he was here, he talked to us about school budgeting. It was point to point, I hope you're getting it. It was from one point to the next, or one point to the next, everything really, really made sense. Okay, right. So thank you. And our sponsors, EduPay Point, they've introduced us to the school fee collection feature of the software. I hope when we come back in the afternoon, they are able to give us a demo of how their software works. And honestly, it's been a long time coming with EduPay Point. I've known them now, I think it's almost 3 years. They took their time to make sure that they gather feedback, they ask questions, they kept asking questions. What is it? What do schools need? What are the challenges? And they are trying their best to put in all of that. Even as we speak, they are still accepting feedback to make sure that you have that tailored solution that can help you with your school's finances, administration, and overall management. There is CBT. There are lots of things on academics. You could track each child's academic progress and all of that. So they will do justice to that later on when we come back in the afternoon session. But before they tell us that, we have the panel session. I'm actually looking forward to this panel session. We have panel session where we'll be having 3 school owners. Should I say school owners? They are directors. 3 of them, they are directors. And I won't talk about it yet, but note the difference between school owner and a director. What's the difference, right? So, and how has that been able to help their businesses? So they'll really share with us what has helped them, and then their mistakes. It's not going to just to be about what they did well. Okay, so what were their mistakes when it comes to reinvestments in the business, and what were their successes? How were they able to achieve it? So we're going to have that when we come back for the afternoon. So once it is 2 p.m., just logging back to this exact Zoom link, you will get access into this conference. So I look forward to having you. Thank you, Josephine. So I leave you in the hands of Josephine. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Like what Zainab said, we are to log out and then come back by 2 p.m. We'll all set a reminder for everybody to be here. Don't worry, it's the same link and I've been posting it on the page. You can copy it now, share it with your colleagues. We'll be back 2 p.m. We have a lot in store, especially the panel session. You're going to hear people, say their own stories, right? So thank you very much. We'll log in now. Please do not forget, by 2 p.m. we have to be here. Thank you. Bye.